Good morning, everyone. My name is Carol Villaverde, and I am a member of the board here at Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. On behalf of the board and the program council, it is my honor to welcome you here this morning. As we enter this space today, know that you are surrounded by the love of this community where all are welcome. Whoever you are, wherever you are from, and wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. If this is your first time here, or your 100th and first time here, if you are here in the building or watching online, you are welcome here. If you would like more information on our church, please fill out the visitor card in the pocket in front of you, or you can visit our website, tvuuc.org, and select Stay in Touch. If you are interested in religious exploration classes for your children or adult RE for yourself here at TVUUC, please visit the RE hallway after the service through the double doors and past the kitchen to speak with an RE leader. You can also find more information on our website or at the RE welcome table in the art gallery. If you need any accessibility aids during the service, such as a large print hymnal, a hearing device, or noise-canceling headphones, those can be found on a cart near the welcome table in the lobby. Our ushers will be glad to show you the way and collect one for you if needed. If you are visiting us with small children, we invite you to sit up front where it is easier for your little ones to see what is going on. Please don't feel that you must keep them still. All are welcome here, and we understand that silence is never completely silent. You should also feel free to change seats at any time during the service if you need to move, to be closer, or even to stretch your legs. If you or your children need to step out of the sanctuary for a moment, the E.E. Cummings room is a glass-enclosed room in the back of the sanctuary where you can still see and hear the service. We have a few announcements. For your safety, please take a moment to locate the 4 emergency exits in this sanctuary, 2 on either side of the organ, and 2 through the blue curtains to my left and my right. We have a few announcements this morning. One is that the holiday market has been canceled for today. Bidding begins on December 4th, and there's more information on that in the order of service and on the auction website. There is a spring retreat fundraiser underway, and if you are interested in purchasing citrus fruit or apples and pecans and some other treats, please visit Natalie Carrillo at the program table in the art gallery before or after the service today. And then we have one correction for the order of service. For Justice Knox, there's an announcement in the order of service that had last year's date. We wanted to make sure that there was a correction today and that you know that if you want to go to the action kickoff, that it is Tuesday, December 2nd. So that's this Tuesday, December 2nd. All right. These announcements and others can be found in the back of your order of service and in our weekly email newsletter. Today is a Generosity Sunday, and to tell you more about what this means and how to give is Jillian.
Good morning. Good morning. This Sunday's generosity offering supports TVUUC's operating budget, sustaining the ministries, programs, and staff that bring our mission to life. Your gifts strengthen our community, keeping it welcoming, resilient, and ready to serve both within and beyond our walls. You will find ways to donate in your order of service, including a QR code that links directly to our giving page. If you're joining us online, simply click the blue Give button on your screen. Thank you.
After the service, please join us for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall. If you are visiting, would like a tour of the building, or have questions about our church, look for me or any of the other board members that are here today, or staff, and we'll be glad to chat and show you around. If you have questions about the path to membership, I'll be happy to introduce you to our prospective member coordinator, Mark Mahundro. And now, if you have not already done so, please silence any electronic devices as we enter worship together.
Patsy Farmer. And to honor Native American Heritage Month, the members of TVUC's beloved community program offer the following acknowledgement of the historic and ongoing harm created during our country's development, even as we recognize with gratitude First Nations peoples' cultures and stewardship of this land, and as we celebrate joyfully with family and friends, though surrounded by our society's references to the mythical Thanksgiving story. We acknowledge that we are living on colonized and occupied lands. The consequences of colonization include ongoing resource extraction, including culture and knowledge, land use and disrespect and destruction of the natural world, political dependency, and so much more. We acknowledge that we and other non-native folks on this land actively continue to benefit from the exploitation inherent in colonization. We acknowledge that fighting this exploitation means continued learning and unlearning and defending the rights of all people to housing, safety, and having their basic needs met, including a healthy natural world that is rich in diversity. We apologize with sorrow for the atrocities of some of our UU forebears, particularly as they settled this land, enslaved fellow humans, and opened and ran the Montana Industrial School for Indians. We apologize with sorrow for the times when we continue to harm ourselves through inaction and by ignoring the intentional erosions of rights and protections against these harms in our country. We thank Justice Movement for the wording of their acknowledgement in their Aiming for Allyship course on which this one is based. We thank Bill Fields for inspiring this statement. Let us weave our joys and sorrows into a richer tapestry of life that motivates us to responsible action in addressing opportunities to undo the harm as we continue learning to better live our UU values.
This morning we want to decolonize Thanksgiving, that word. We want to separate the virtue of giving thanks, which is found in every culture around the world, which is often centered around harvest festivals, from the problematic and violent history that surrounds the festival of Thanksgiving in our nation. At the Museum of Cherokee Indian, they've renamed the holiday Truth Giving. And so we want to speak the truth about gratitude this morning, as captured in the words of the Shawnee warrior Tecumseh, who said, "When you rise in the morning, give thanks for light, for your life, for your strength. Give thanks for your food and for the joy of living. If you see no reason to give thanks, the fault is in yourself." Come, let us worship together. Together in singing our opening hymn 349 in the gray hymnal, We Gather Together.
Loya, Director of Religious Exploration here at TVUUC. And it's good to be here, those who are here in this room, those who are watching from elsewhere. And I have a story to share this morning. It's adapted from one written by Molly Beth Griffin. But first I have a question. Has anybody here ever been on a really long car ride? Maybe some of us even recently. Yeah, this story begins with a kid named Lily who was in the car with her grandmother. And they were traveling all the way from where they had started out to Iowa, where Lily was going to be living with her gran. And she looked at a map, and there was an X that marked the spot where her Gram's house was, way in the emptiness. And she felt hollow inside her, too. And as they went, her Gram had a suggestion. Her Gram said, "Why don't we try to find 10 beautiful things on our drive, on our way?" And Lily kind of went, "There's nothing beautiful here." And her Gram said, "You know, you might be surprised." And just at that moment, wouldn't you know it, way across the horizon, the sun peeked up above the horizon. Has anybody ever seen a sunrise before? And Lily said, "Oh, that's number 1." Well, they continued going for a long, long time. And then Graham pointed out number 2. They reached a place where they saw in the distance, and they got closer and closer. It was a wind farm with giant white windmills, and the arms of the windmills gleamed in the sun. Lily felt like they'd been driving a really, really long time already, so she crunched on some crackers. Does anybody here ever have some snacks when you're on a long trip? But the crackers didn't fill up her hollow places inside. And after a while, she decided she was going to concentrate on their game. And so she was looking, and then she found number 3. She saw a red-winged blackbird. Have any of us ever seen a red-winged blackbird? And it was perched on a stalk of last year's corn. And it was dark and it was bright right at the same time. And its mouth was open like it was singing, even though they couldn't hear it. And so Lily said, "That's number 3. They kept going, and after a little while, Graham rolled her window down a little bit, and suddenly there was air and cold and sound, and they drove on a bridge, and Graham called number 4. It was the sound of a gurgling creek below. Can we make the sound of a creek? Lily fell asleep after a while. Did any of us ever fall asleep on a long car ride? Not when we're the ones driving? And she woke up suddenly when Graham called out, "I see number 5." And Graham pointed out a broken down old barn. And Lily said, "That's not pretty. That can't count." And Graham said, "We're not looking for pretty. We need beautiful." And so it stood. They were halfway to 10. They decided to make a stop a little while later at a rest stop, and Lily bounced out of the car. Is anybody, when you've been on a long car trip, do you usually have a lot of energy you need to get out? And how many of us, when we're getting out after a long time in the car, feel a little creaky and need to stretch a little bit? So while Graham was stretching, Lily found a puddle nearby that was full of mud. And she stood by it, and her Graham came to join her, and Lily said, "I found number 6, the smell of mud." And her Graham closed her eyes and breathed in deeply. Can we all breathe in deeply? And Graham said, "Oh, yeah, it smells earthy and warm. I never really thought about it that way. I never noticed that." So that was number 6. Pretty soon they were in the car again. They turned off the main freeway onto a smaller highway, and Graham said, "Just 2 more highways left." But it felt like it'd been a really long time. But then she said, I bet we'll find some more pretty quickly," and they did. So 7 and 8 came really fast. They saw a cloud that was shaped like a really interesting shape. Can somebody think of a really interesting shape that a cloud might be? Have you ever seen a cloud? Yeah. It could be a hawk shape, a heart shape. It could be a heart shape. They saw a heart-shaped cloud in the sky. And then number 8, soon after that, they saw a little brown calf that trotted along the fence next to where they were. Well, they were getting pretty close Graham said, although Lily wasn't sure about that. They were driving and driving and driving, and pretty soon the clouds began to gather, and it got pretty dark. And then all of a sudden there was a rumbling. What do you think was coming? Yeah. There was a big crash, and then all of a sudden up above there were lightning that seemed like the cloud banks on either side were trading off, and one lightning bolt would touch off lightning across the whole sky. And Lily looked out and whispered, "Number 9." There was no room for any other words. And for just a minute, that storm filled Lily all the way up. She was there with her Graham, seeing that, and for a whole minute, nothing else mattered. Graham said that they were almost there, and after a really, really long time of being almost there, they turned on a little road and bounced up the unpaved path to the farmhouse, and the car stopped, and Lily slumped down. What do you think she said? Does anybody have a guess? "We didn't find 10. We only made it to 9. Oh, I didn't see you had a guess. Yeah. She said, "We only made it to 9. Oh no." And her Graham came out with her umbrella and opened the car and gathered Lily out and gave her a big, warm hug. And she said, "No, baby, this is 10. We're 10. And Lily sank into her Graham's hug, and she thought, we are here. She was there at her new home with her Graham, and everything wasn't easy, and maybe it wouldn't ever all be easy, but she was home, and she was where she belonged now, and it wasn't empty, and neither was she. And that is our story for this morning. Thank you all, and we're all staying right here for our multi-gen service. Thank you.
So I invite you to turn in the back of your hymnal to responsive reading 512 or not, because your part is easy. All you have to do is say, "We give thanks for this day." We give thanks for this day. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imagination. We give thanks for this day. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. We give thanks for this day. For our human community, our common past and our future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. We give thanks for this day. For the high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding views not shared. We give thanks to this day. For all who have labored, suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom. We give thanks to this day. For human liberty and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. We give thanks to this day. We pray that we might live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. We give thanks for this day. So our meditation for today comes from a book that I found in the reflection room in the religious education section. It has wonderful pictures, and I encourage you to read it someday. But right now I'm going to just invite you to enter into the power of the words of this book. When I Breathe Deeply by Jill Guerra. When I breathe deeply, I feel ready for the day. My body relaxes and I feel safe. I feel like I am the only one in the room. When I breathe deeply, I feel brave. I get to know myself. It calms my body, mind, and heart. I feel gratitude. When I breathe deeply, I feel quiet inside. I can feel my heart changing emotions. I feel calmer with each breath. When I breathe deeply, I feel like everything is going to be okay. I feel like the world is not that stressful. I feel awake. When I breathe deeply, I feel like I am being kind to myself. When I breathe deeply, I feel completely free. And now I invite you to enter into a moment of silence, a time to breathe deeply. Amen. As we enter into the time for offertory, I want to give thanks to our band and choir for providing a song I have long wanted to do in a Thanksgiving service.
How about getting off of these antibiotics?
When I was in high school, before the invention of cell phones, we used to pass notes to each other in class when we were supposed to be paying attention to the teacher. And recently, I found a box of hundreds of these notes from 1982 and earlier, and I have been going through that box. So let me set some context before I share one of those notes. My memory is me being a very insecure young teenager, and I had trust issues. I'd had a lot of disruption in my life, and so I had a hard time believing that anybody could really love me. And I opened the note, and here's what that note said. I love you. 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 And I started thinking maybe the problem was with me. Maybe I'm the one who has a hard time letting love in. Maybe there was more love all around me as I was growing up, more love than I ever knew. I was simply oblivious to it. It's sort of like the words of the Shawnee warrior Tecumseh, and they're words worth repeating. When you rise in the morning, give thanks for the light, give thanks for your life, give thanks for your strength, give thanks for your food, give thanks for the joy of living. If you see no reason to give thanks, the fault lies in yourself. Thanksgiving can be a time to examine our lives to see if there's something in us that is blocking our ability to take love in and to express thanksgiving, to express gratitude. Now, this has been a hard month for our church. We've had 4 memorial services this month, and there's been a lot of grief and a lot of sadness in the midst of this time. When I was preparing for a memorial service for Nan Johnson Morgan, her daughter Tamala brought me a dog-eared copy of a book that she loved to read called Falling into Grace, Insights on the End of Suffering by Adyashanti, which is grounded in the Zen Buddhist tradition. And here's one of the passages she had marked by a pen in the middle of her book, underlined with star by it. Coming to the end of suffering is about beginning to see all the ways our mind maintains suffering through habitual patterns of thinking. As we begin to understand the causes of suffering, that all our suffering is based in various ways in which we imagine ourselves to be separate and different, we begin the process of waking up from unhappiness to happiness. We have the capacity to put an end to our suffering now by simply being aware of it. And if that is too complex for you, I also shared a children's song that someone rewrote that makes the same exact point. If you're happy and you know it, overthink. If you're happy and you know it, overthink. If you're happy and you know it, give your brain a chance to blow it. If you're happy and you know it, overthink. The same thing. Good translation, that. And that's how it is often. We are happy and we're thankful until we give our mind a chance to blow it. I even think there is something about the human condition that makes us overthink and underthink. To think too much and think too little. There are exceptions. When I was invited to speak to the Alliance Chloe Aroldi Waters told me, all we can give you is our undying gratitude. And I said, I'll take it. Because I think we could all use some undying gratitude. That would be wonderful, to be surrounded by undying gratitude. And I'm as guilty of overthinking and underthinking as anybody. When I was growing up in the Episcopal Church, I heard stories of how Jesus would touch someone, and the blind would see, and the deaf would hear, and the lame would walk again. And the other day, I was outside welcoming new people. We had new people coming in on Sunday morning, and I looked over at a bench that was around our labyrinth, and it looked a little tilted. So I went over and I touched it, and it collapsed into a lot of different pieces. It just fell apart. And I was looking at my finger, and I was thinking, maybe I've gone into the wrong line of work. Or maybe the scriptures have just given me unrealistic expectations about what can be done through a healing touch. But here's my last theory. It's the one that I'll let stand. Maybe it's just time for a new bench. Maybe it's just time for a new bench. So I'm going to say a few words that may feel like a detour, but I'm still on track here. When I was a religious education director, someone with the best intentions in the world decided to rewrite a familiar children's hymn. And the goal of this rewritten version of the hymn was to empower people to work for justice, to empower people to work for change. And it went like this. We've got the whole world in our hands. We got the whole world in our hands. We got the whole world in our hands. We got the whole world in our hands. And I made up a second verse. That's way too much responsibility. That's way too much responsibility. That's way too much responsibility to have the whole world in our hands. A third verse. And now I suffer from anxiety. And now I suffer from anxiety. And now I suffer from anxiety as the world crumbles in my hands. I share this because we are celebrating the Thanksgiving season while the world is falling apart. It is going into pieces, lots of broken fragments. But then again, maybe it's time for a new world. Who's ready for a new world? And while we're waiting for this and working, more importantly, waiting and working for this new world to be born, we can give thanks for life in the face of death. We can give thanks for joy in the midst of sorrow. We can give thanks for hope in the middle of deep despair. We can give thanks for our freedom as we continue to work against every form of oppression. And in this interim time, maybe we can channel the music of Alanis Morissette. And I'm not going to try to hit those notes. We can examine our lives and ask ourselves the question, how about no longer being masochistic? How about stop overthinking? How about remembering our divinity? How about letting a little of that love in? It is time for a new world, but let me tell you, and this is something you may never have considered, we have been here before. Once women were not allowed to vote, weren't allowed to have a credit card, weren't allowed to serve as ministers in churches, but we're in a new world now. Once two people who loved each other couldn't get married if they were the same gender, but we are living in a new world now. So we've been here before. Here we go again. Here we go again. But let me give you fair warning. The birth of a new world can be scary, and it can shatter our illusions of control and shatter our illusions of complacency and self-sufficiency. I remember the night my daughter was born, and it was an exciting and wonderful night, and also I was terrified. I was terrified, but I found that if I rubbed my wife's shoulders and my face was behind her, she did not know how scared I was, and that was good. And so maybe a prayer we can honor, we can share, that can guide us through this time is, thank you, terror. Thank you, frailty. Thank you, disillusionment. Looking through a box of notes from high school, I found a 4-decade-old note from a friend who was thanking me. You know how they do, somebody write you a note, and then you would write something back, and somehow it ended up, this exchange, in my box. They thanked me for going to a weekend gathering. It was an evangelical Christian gathering, and I was there for the whole weekend, and they thanked me for coming, and here is what I wrote back. Quote, I still don't know what I think about the reality of God, but it was a great weekend. Thank you. When I was in high school, I was insecure, even as I was receiving love notes, very demonstrative love notes, beautifully handwritten love notes. And maybe that's the closest we will ever come to understanding the reality of God, or ultimate reality, or whatever words you want to use, or whatever you want to call it. As the poet Hafiz once wrote, our estrangement, our separation from God is the hardest work we will ever do. Maybe there are at all times and all places, there's more love than we can ever imagine. More love than we can ever know. More love all around us, and all we have to do is let it in. And so let me end by saying, I love you. I love you. I love you. Say it with me. I love you. 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 All together. I love you. Happy Thanksgiving. I invite you to join together. You can sit and rest as you sing hymn 110 or 1010 in the Teal hymnal, We Give Thanks.
We welcome everyone to join us in a moment for an apple communion ritual. This has a special resonance for me because the very first UU service I ever went to when I was 7 years old was a Thanksgiving service with an apple communion. Now, in sharing this common meal, this communion, we employ a simple symbol, the apple. And we have chosen the apple, a product of the natural world, embodying the nourishment we seek together. There are lots of different types of apples. What are some of the favorite apples that you have? Anybody have a favorite apple? Yeah. Now, I don't know how many of us knew this already, but I learned that the seeds from an apple do not guarantee that the same kind of tree that bore them will grow up just like its parent. That's why you have grafts, right? So the apple seeds don't run true. You will have a completely different kind of apple growing from a tree, from an apple seed, from an apple that you have enjoyed. And so they might not grow up just like their parent, kind of like people. And apples come tart and sweet, small and large, red, orange, yellow, green, spotted, speckled, striped, and everything in between. And apples can remind us of how wonderfully rich and diverse this amazing world is, and that it takes many kinds together to make the most excellent pies and cider and fresh eating. And so we especially share and celebrate together at this season, autumn, for we are grateful for our potential to be a growing community, growing physically and mentally, ourselves, morally and spiritually, individually as well as collectively. And so we honor the splendor of the seasons of nature. And apples are part of the harvest, literally as well as symbolically. So in eating apples together, as we're going to be invited to do in a few moments, we celebrate our shared potential. We celebrate an appreciation of the beauty of life and thankfulness for the opportunity to be alive and joy for the work and the love we experience together, and especially for the sweetness to be found, even or maybe especially in seasons of life when it feels that much is falling away, or when we must hunker down to make it through days that feel cold or dark. So may the sweetness that comes from our connections with one another, the community that is here for us when we are celebrating and when we are struggling. So we have some baskets here with apple slices, and I'm going to ask for folks who would like to be helpers in a moment to come forward and help pass them out to everybody. And we're going to invite our helpers to pass the baskets down the rows. We're going to let everybody choose their own apple slices, okay? We're not going to put our fingers on somebody else's apple slice, yes? All right. And if it would be better for you to have some unpeeled chunks of apple rather than a whole slice with the peel, if you would raise your hand, and we've got one basket. Somebody's going to bring around a basket with cups of apple chunks. And if you are watching from home or elsewhere, you are invited to find an apple or another piece of fruit that you have, or you can hold an imaginary apple slice and taste it with us in a few moments. And so now we are going to share our apples. And I ask you, please don't eat your apple yet when you get it, okay? Try really hard to wait. If you just can't stand it, it's okay. We'll forgive you. It's not a problem. But we're going to have a little blessing of our apples before we eat them in a few moments, okay? So now, could I have some folks who'd like to be helpers to help pass them out along the rows? Thank you. anybody who has not had apples come your way yet? You can raise your hands high. We've got somebody who needs one over there. Any more apples? All right. Today, we celebrate our gratitude for the sweetness of life, in which every being is invited to join with all that is, with the warmth of the sun that shone on these apples, with the color of leaf, with the sound of rain, even the vastness of the starry night. And we honor the ongoing process of natural life with respect, with awe, with delight, not only for ourselves, but for all our relations. And so I invite you now to take a moment to notice the scent of your apple. Take a moment to take in all that this apple offers to you, and then on the count of 3, I'm going to invite us all to taste our apples in one collective crunch, savoring them for a moment then of meditation and celebration together. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. We have plenty of apples left for those who are here, so after the service, you are welcome to come and take some more apple slices if you would like, and we'll take them to the fellowship hall as well. Thank you all.
Good morning. My name is Wimberly, and I'm part of the spiritual care team here at TVUC. We're a group of trained volunteers whose aim is to stay attuned and attentive to the needs of this congregation. We help with things like rides to medical appointments, we organize meals when incapacitated, and we offer listening booths once a month. If you need to reach us by text or a call, our information is on the back page of the order of service. We work closely with the caring table, and we encourage you to stop by their table after the service, staffed today by Wendy Sire and new volunteer Cindy Storm. That's where you can add your name to messages of support for those in need of good wishes. As many of you know, Trish Adams' son Chance, the famous Captain Chance, has been a role model for children and adults fighting brain cancer. If you have donated to St. Jude's Hospital, where Chance continues to receive care, you may have noticed that Chance is pictured along with his friend Kyla in St. Jude's 2026 calendar. This brave and gentle soul continues to push the boundaries of his physical limitations. Just this past week, he learned to steer and apply the brakes to a special scooter, giving him a thrill and his mom a special kind of joy. Lillian Mashburn is at home working with a physical therapist and is making progress slowly but surely as she recovers from a broken femur. Visitors are still very important to her. Please call her and arrange a time to visit so that Lillian's husband, John, can schedule shopping and other errands. And by the way, food is always welcome. On Sunday mornings, you are often greeted at the front door by Trevor Palmer and his husband, Danny Strevel. They ask that you please keep Danny in your prayer list as he has been experiencing tremors and recently diagnosed with Parkinson's. Also from Trevor is a message of gratitude for all who helped with Queer Thanksgiving held here at TVUC on Black Friday. He says it was a success, and thank you. And a personal joy was seeing so many Unitarians at the Thanksgiving turkey trot who knew we had so many runners and walkers and cheerleaders in our midst. As a caring community, we recognize that often concerns or stresses or losses or joys are not named in this service for a variety of reasons. We recognize that these life experiences can be complicated and there can be complex feelings around the struggles we experience. We hold those up too, though, even if they are not spoken aloud here, and we wish you strength and clarity and peace. So now, please join me in singing to all those who've been lifted up here and other joys and concerns that remain unspoken. We are sending you light.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, Come Ye Thankful People, 68 in the Great Hymnal. Prophetic Church, the world awaits your liberating and apple-eating ministry. Go forward in the power of love, proclaim the truth that makes us free. I invite you to turn and greet your neighbor and grab another apple.